Hello and welcome along to my review of Best Western Hotels. Now, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know that I specialise in hotels aimed at business people. And in particular, I specialise in budget hotels aimed at business people. And the reason is because, let's face it, if you're running a business, you don't want to spend too much money from your company budget. So I tend to stay in hotels like Premier Inn and Travelodge and also Ibis. But another hotel chain which can sometimes be quite reasonably priced are Best Western. And Best Western are often off people's radar. It's one of those hotel chains that some people have never heard of, and even people who have heard of Best Western often haven't stayed in one. Well, I first discovered Best Western when I was travelling around the United States of America, and I have actually stayed in quite a few Best Westerns in the USA. But in Britain, they are actually quite hard to find, which is surprising because there are actually 250 Best Western hotels in the United Kingdom. That's out of a total of 4,000 Best Western hotels worldwide. So today I'm staying in a hotel called the Milestone, which is in Cambridgeshire, and I have stayed here once before, but I'm going to take another look at it, and in particular today I'm going to explain what you get here that you might not get in a Premier Inn or a Travelodge or an Ibis hotel. Now, I need to say that technically speaking, Best Western don't fall in the same category as Travelodge or Premier Inn or Ibis. They are regarded as budget standard hotels, so they're usually about 2-star hotels. Best Western hotels are usually 3-star or 4-star, so they're what are known as mid-range. They're not the luxury style hotels like the better Hiltons, but they're also not really categorised in the same type of category as Travelodge or of Premier Inn. So they're regarded as mid-range hotels. But from the point of view of cost, a lot of them aren't that much more expensive than a Premier Inn or a Travelodge. In fact, sometimes they can actually be cheaper, and that's why I'm featuring them here today. So first of all, I'm going to give you a quick room tour of a typical Best Western hotel, and then I'm going to give you some useful information. And finally, I'm going to explain whether I would stay here again and just give a summary of what I actually think to the Best Western brand and whether it's worth you staying in a Best Western hotel as a business person. Now, one important thing to say about Best Western hotels is they're not as standardised as what you'd get in, for example, a Travelodge or a Premier Inn. So some of the features I'm going to show you today might be slightly different if you stay in a different Best Western hotel. And also, confusingly, they do have some sub-brands. So this one is called the Shore Collection, which is one of their mid-range, not really what you call luxury hotels, but also not really what you'd call budget hotels. And this is what you typically get in a Best Western Shore Collection hotel. Actually, some Best Western hotels are actually quite luxurious, and others are probably a bit more like a Travelodge, a bit more like a budget hotel. But these are the kind of the mid-range ones. And just very quickly to go through the room tour then, you've got quite a nice comfortable bed. I've tried it out. It's comfortable. It's pretty much what you'd expect. The Premier Inn, the Travelodge, they all have similar quality beds. You get a nice chair to sit in, much nicer than some of the bucket chairs you get in Travelodge. A lot more comfortable, nicer if you're going to sit and watch TV in the evening. And talking of the television, it is a 32-inch TV. It's quite a reasonable quality. There's quite a few channels. I think there are more channels than you'd get in, say, a Travelodge or in a Premier Inn. You don't get the cable channels, you know, those type of premium channels, but you do get quite a few channels. And the usual courtesy tray, which is pretty standard no matter where you stay, with tea, coffee, milk. Never provide enough, but that's typical of most hotels. You can always get more at reception. A plastic kettle, which is a disappointment. The cheaper kettles, I'd rather they gave metal kettles or a coffee maker, but it's all right. As I usually say in all my films, if you watch my channel on YouTube, they don't provide wine or water or snacks or anything like that. I've brought those myself for tonight. The room isn't particularly spacious. Now, the last time I stayed in this same hotel, they gave me a bigger room, or at least it actually probably was the same size in square footage, because this room is laid out a bit differently. So it has a bedroom section, but it also has a separate section leading into the bathroom. So that's quite nice in a way. It's a nice feature because it's almost like keeping the bathroom and the wardrobe area separate from the bedroom. So the wardrobe area I'll show you in a minute. Bathroom is immaculately clean, nice big mirror, and all the usual what you'd expect really, toilet, shower. Now, one thing I have noticed at Best Westerns, they tend to give you a bath as well. Not always, so if that's important to you, you do need to check first. But I found most Best Westerns, they do have a bath, which is definitely an advantage over Premier Inn and Travelodge because they tend to just have showers. Now here at Best Western, we've got a shower. In fact, you've got two showers. You've got a shower attached there as well, and one on the wall, an overhead shower, and also a nice bath. Nice big bath, nice and clean, immaculately clean, this hotel. Give them top marks for that. And little touches like some tissues, a box of tissues, which they have. I've noticed every Best Western I've stayed in, they have these box of tissues. Don't know why, but it's a nice little touch, I suppose. Big mirror, you can see me in the background. Right, now here separately, and this is separate from the bedroom, is a wardrobe area with loads of space. Got all this space here, far too much space actually. I usually complain they don't give enough space, but lots of space. Spare pillows, also a trouser press. It's these kind of little features that give it an extra star. I mentioned this is a 3-star hotel rather than a 2-star, and it's features like the trouser press which just give you that extra star rating. And also, now you'll know what I'm going to say if you watched any of my other films. I always complain about there not being enough coat hangers, and guess what? I've got 7. I always count them. Stayed in a Premier Inn, a good quality Premier Inn, actually, one of the Premier Plus rooms a few weeks ago in London. They only gave me 5. I stayed in a Travelodge in London last week and they had 6. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't actually need 3. I'm just heading to a football match at Wembley. And so I only need 1 for my replica shirt and my hoodie and my jumper here if it's cold in the year. So I only need 3 and they're giving me 7. I think that's the most coat hangers I've ever had at any hotel anywhere in the world. They never give enough, but here at Best Western they do give enough. So well done, Best Western. If you've watched my other films, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I always moan and complain about the lack of coat hangers. So you've got a nice little chair, it's fairly comfortable, and a desk, quite a big desk as well, which is handy if you bring your laptop computer, you want to do some work in the evening, then there's plenty of room, a nice big desk. Would have been better if it was a swivel chair, which is what you get in the Premier Plus rooms at Premier Inn, but it's okay, it's comfortable. It's a lot more comfortable than the chairs you get in the standard rooms at Travelodge. And I've also stayed in an Ibis where they had an absolutely horrendous chair. If you watch my other film on YouTube, you'll see me complaining about the Ibis Hotel in Lincoln, which had the most appalling chair I've ever seen. So this is all right, it's comfortable to sit on. You can sit on the desk, do a bit of work on your laptop computer in the evening, do a bit of reading, writing, whatever it is you do after you've had your business meeting. And then you've got another big mirror, obviously with me in the background. Loads more storage space here for my laptop computer and my bag of camera and video equipment. So that's very useful, so great for storage space. And also a nice big window. Now, for some people that doesn't matter. I've noticed in Premier Inns and Travelodges, you often get small windows, and that means you don't have much natural lighting, and I like a lot of natural light, so this is great. Lovely big window. It's well soundproofed, but hey, look at this. I've never seen one of these before. It's got these, watch this, to keep the light out, rather than curtains. I'll just close that there. This is amazing. I'll stand back and you'll see what it is. Can you guess what it is yet? Who was it that used to say, can you guess what it is yet? Oh, it was Rolf Harris, wasn't it? Oh dear. I think that makes the room look lovely. It's like a wooden blind that covers the whole window. That is going to keep all the light out, which will be fantastic for sleeping, especially because I'm here in summer, and so it's going to be light quite early. I do have to get up quite early tomorrow morning to get off to Wembley, but look at that. It makes the room look fantastic, this wood. It really looks high quality. But that is instead of a curtain. And it's, apart from the fact it looks good, I'll open it again. Apart from the fact it looks good, it's also going to keep all the light out. So that, I think, is fantastic. There we go. You couldn't see what I was doing there, but I was just basically opening it, and I'll stand back again now. And you can have a look at what it's like with those, I don't know what you'd call them, wooden curtains. Fantastic. So, nice bed. Lovely warm room. There's a heater. There isn't air conditioning. So they lose a mark from my point of view. I do like air conditioning. There isn't any in this room. A couple of bedside tables, nice comfortable bed, big window, lots of natural light. Fantastic wooden curtains, or whatever. There's probably a proper name for them. If you know what they're called, please put a comment in the box below, and there'll be a prize for anybody who can tell me what they're actually called. Nice big TV. Lovely desk, nice wooden desk. I don't normally like too much wood, but this comes across as quality wood. There's a lot of wood in Best Western hotels, I've noticed. Much more so than Premier Inn and Ibis and Travelodge. They seem to like wood in Best Western. And sometimes it can look cheap and tacky, but if it's done well, it does look like quality. A very squeaky floor, you can probably hear in the background. And I love the way that the wardrobe is separate from the room itself. It's just quite nice, this. A nice bathroom, nice clean bathroom, and a big plus point for the bath. So all in all, it's a nice room. I'd say it's on a par with the Premier Plus rooms at Premier Inn, possibly even slightly better. So that's my room tour. Now just a bit of useful advice and a few final thoughts on whether you should consider staying at a Best Western hotel. So that gives you a rough idea of what to expect if you stay at a Best Western hotel. And I have to stress, as I said at the start, that they are not as standardised as Premier Inn or Travelodge. So you might not necessarily get the same things at the Best Western you stay at as what I've described here. But it does give you a rough idea of what to expect at a Best Western hotel. There's no doubt that they are a step upwards on, say, a Premier Inn standard room or a Travelodge. The Premier Plus rooms at Premier Inn, I would say, are probably about the same quality here. There are a few things about these hotels which I don't like, and there's also some things that I really do like. But on the whole, I would say that 3 stars is about the level you'd expect. So definitely a step up from a Travelodge, and definitely a step up from a Premier Inn standard room. Price-wise, they can be very variable. Some of the Best Westerns, especially in the London area, can be very expensive. The one I'm staying in is in Cambridgeshire and is much cheaper. As far as business travellers go, because of course my channel is mainly aimed at business travellers, I think the facilities are very good. There's good restaurant here, quite good breakfast provided, and in fact breakfast at the moment at Best Western is completely free with your booking. I can't guarantee that's going to be the case by the time you watch this film, but certainly at the moment they are giving free breakfast with all bookings, which is good. Nice big desk, nice comfortable chair, nice big TV, all the standard facilities that a business traveller would want. Best Westerns are often in quite strange locations. They don't tend to be in city centres so much. The one I'm staying at is right next to the A1M motorway, which again is perfect if you're a business traveller, maybe a salesperson, or you run a business and you travelling about the country, visiting clients, that type of thing. Very, very convenient because it's right next to the motorway, although a long way from any other facilities. All in all, I've been very happy with my stay. I definitely recommend this hotel, and I would definitely recommend that you check out Best Western as a possible alternative to Premier Inn or Travelodge. My name's Darren Bugg. I review lots and lots of lower priced hotels aimed at business people. So as I said at the start, it is mainly Premier Inns, Ibis, Travelodge, that type of thing, but it's always worth checking out other types of hotel. And so if you do find a Best Western in a convenient location, and if it's at a reasonable price, then I would definitely recommend you check out Best Western as a very good alternative to the Premier Inns, to the Travelodges, to the hotels that you're probably more used to staying in. One final point, I've checked out several review sites, and amazingly Best Western don't have particularly great ratings. They're actually rated as the 11th most popular hotel brand in the country. I think that's a bit unfair, to be honest. Premier Inn come top, but I suspect that these ratings are because more people stay in Premier Inns, and so they're more likely to do reviews on TripAdvisor and on the different review sites, and therefore you'll find that Premier Inns do tend to come top. I think Best Western being in 11th place is actually a little bit unfair. I actually think the quality is definitely deserves a place in the top 5 amongst the mid-range and budget hotels, but it probably just have lower ratings because less people actually stay in them because they're not as well known. But there are 250 in the United Kingdom, 4,000 worldwide. I've stayed in quite a few in America. I've only stayed in this one in the UK, but I think it's great, and I definitely recommend that if you're looking for a sort of mid-priced hotel for business use, then this could be just what you're looking for. My name's Darren Bugg. Thanks a lot for watching. If you could help me by subscribing, sharing, liking, all that kind of stuff, it's a big help. I also produce lots of useful films on business as well, so have a look around my site. Until next time, happy travelling, and I'll see you again very soon.